Good morning, everybody. We are here this morning with the Berea Chamber of Commerce, and we are at Elder Law Guidance in Richmond, Kentucky. And we're going to meet Scott Collins and his staff today. So, Scott, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for coming out in the rain. It's good to see everybody.
It is a dreary, rainy day, and I'm going to scan around so everybody can kind of see where we're located. This is Harper Square, and we are here across from McDonald's in Richmond, and this is Lexington Road.
Right.
And Scott, you're located on the second floor, but you said you're located right next to the elevator. So show us where that's at.
The elevator's right down here. If you come to the offices, you come to the very center of the full complex, and in the middle, the stairwell there will open up to the elevator, and you can come right up to the top. Our office is right next door to that elevator, so it's very easy to get to. Easy parking, easy entry if you're struggling with mobility and things along those lines. So,
Or just don't like stairs, right?
don't like stairs.
So take us on a tour of your office. We can't wait to see what your office looks like.
Sure.
And this is your second location, correct?
That is right. We actually have 3 locations. We have 2 historic homes in town. My private office is in one of them. It's about 140 years old. It was built by A.R. Burnham, the famed Burnham of Burnham Hall and all of those named buildings on EKU campus. He's the one that was able to get Center College's offshoot, EKU, here in Richmond. So we have that office. Another one's 196 years old. That the Smith-Solomon House, George Brown built that in 1826, so it's almost 200 years old. A former Civil War hospital, lots of history there. There's a lot of ghost stories there too, so people are always interested in that. But this is the location that most people would meet us here at Harper Square. We've had this location for about a month now.
So brand new at this point, isn't it?
Brand new. We really love it. It's great, convenient for everybody, but great for our staff as well. So you would enter here.
All right.
This is the first place, the reception area. Usually you're by appointment. We do have a drop-off occasionally from clients, but you'd come in and be seated, and we would just take you straight on in.
And lots of blinds for confidentiality. You are an attorney, so we keep everything confidential.
There's all kinds of noise diffusers and things like that. The conference room is convenient for us. If we have larger groups, we can always accommodate larger gatherings in other locations we have. So come on in, I'll show you a few people. We do have a dedicated staff that greets you, a client care specialist, and of course, what a receptionist. This is our Director of First Impressions, Brianna.
Hi, Brianna.
Hi.
You are on Facebook Live this morning.
Oh, hi, everyone.
So you get to meet her first thing when you call in. We're sharing right now the same space. We have a brand new UK law student. He's just graduated, getting ready for the bar, and I'm really happy to have Josh Murray on staff. Great guy.
Well, good morning, Josh. Congratulations on your graduation.
As you can tell, I try to hire pretty people to make up for my ugly face. So very handsome, smart, talented staff here. So
Well, nice to meet you all this morning.
It's nice to meet you too.
if we go right on down the hall here, I'll show you a couple of other people. What we do in the firm is we focus a lot on veterans benefits, Medicaid benefits, especially for long-term care planning. We are estate planners on steroids, a lot of trust work, things like that. But these 2 ladies that you'll meet here, we have first off Catrell Huff.
Good morning. Say hi to everybody.
Miss Sunshine wearing the floral tropical look this morning. And over here we have another one of our caseworkers, legal assistants. This is Alexis.
Good morning, Alexis.
Morning.
And they are so good. If you become a client of the firm, these are the ladies that are going to hold you by the hand, walk you through the whole process. They're really about high touch and client concerns all the way. So you've got somebody at your beckoning call all the time for your questions and concerns.
And speaking of questions, since we are Facebook Live and people are watching this, if you have questions while we're live, please feel free to comment and post those, and I'll ask Scott those questions while we're live. If it's after the video is over, go ahead and comment and ask those questions, and we'll follow up with Scott later and get those answered for you. So feel free to ask questions while we're shooting the live video or following the video.
Sure, I'd love to answer any questions. Got lots of ways for follow-up with you as well. going to introduce you to perhaps the smartest guy around. This is another one of the attorneys here, Derek Taylor.
Good morning, Derek.
Morning, lady with the phone.
Derek is a specialist at Medicaid law, things like that. He helps me in other areas of the firm too, but he is really the workhorse behind most of the awesome things happening here. So
And the comedic relief, too. We love it.
he's the funny one too.
Prepped me before to.
He was going to juggle, and then I found out that was all just a myth. He can't really juggle, but maybe standing on his
Change
hand.
my resume.
Thank you, Derek.
And also, when you come in, we do have a large break room for our staff. There are restrooms, a kitchenette back here, but we also have our IT person. This is Drake Fitzpatrick. He takes care of all of our.
Hey, Drake, how are you doing?
Doing well.
He does all of our computer stuff, all of our scanning, copying, running, taking things to the courthouse and the clerk's office, deed vault, all of that kind of business all the time for us. So couldn't do most of everything behind the scenes without people like him. So have a few other people. They're not in the office right now, so I'll take you on back to the conference room.
And as you can see outside, I don't know if anybody can hear in the video, but it's pouring the rain again outside. So you may hear some of that beating on the roof of the building, but it is a beautiful facility here. And Scott said he's been here about a month. So those of you that are watching, when this video is years down the road, you'll be able to see this particular location when they first moved in.
We'll just go right on in here.
So Scott, tell us a little bit about the services and things that you offer. Your specialty and your areas of law. Give us a little overview of what people can expect, what you can do to help people.
Most people are familiar with wills. Everybody needs a will. And so that area of law is basic estate planning. How do I prepare for where my stuff is going to go once I'm passed away? Elder law is my true practice area, which encompasses that, but a whole lot more. I'm concerned about not just where my stuff goes when I pass away, but how do I keep my stuff while I'm still alive, the best way to use it so that I can qualify for coverages for long-term care, in-home. Sometimes it's in a facility. I work a lot with guardianship, things along those lines, just the basic aging process. We have age-related infirmities, and it changes. This area of law is not like what you face as a need for a 30-year-old or a 40-year-old. When I hit 50, maybe Social Security age around 65, you have to become very specialized in the nuances of what you need to do there.
So there may be questions that people have that they don't even know they need to be asking because they don't know those particular areas of law and how it's going to affect them.
That's right. For instance, a lot of people are not aware that in Kentucky, without a will, that your spouse is not the primary person to take your estate. The spouse actually goes fourth in line. Now, there's a way to work around that, but without a will, those protections that are almost common sense, that if I die, my wife's getting everything, that's not the way it works under Kentucky law, so it's really important. We don't know these things until somebody tells us. In veterans law, for instance, I do a lot of VA work, and most of those benefits, I sat with a fellow yesterday. He had no idea that he was entitled to free health care. Every veteran can get free health care. One of the things I face all the time is we'll talk to a friend, a neighbor, hear a story, and someone tells us, you don't qualify for that. You have too much money. You have too much income. And that just is not true. I don't want to tell anybody they're wrong, but everybody can qualify for something somehow. It's just a matter of coming to somebody that can navigate the system for you. One of the VA benefits, which we really spend a lot of time, would allow a military person who served active duty during wartime. They didn't have to be in Vietnam, for instance. They could have been at the Pentagon during Vietnam, during Korea, during World War II. And just the fact that you served, that would entitle you to up to about $2,300 new money. In fact, of all the veterans who are even qualified, only 7% of them take advantage of this benefit, and the reason is they just don't know that it exists. And not only is it available to the veteran, it's available to your spouse if that spouse survives you. The benefit amount is less, but that's a huge amount of money. If I'm struggling and trying to maybe, I don't want to go into a nursing facility. I just need a little attendant care at home. Well, now I've got an extra couple $1,000s to help me with those in-home needs. Perhaps it's just installing a ramp or some sort of a chairlift for the stairs or things like that. Just lots and lots of benefits there that people are not aware of. And VA law is changing all the time, so just because you heard something once doesn't mean that it hasn't changed. One of the neat things about VA, there's a thing called a NEMR claim. So if you were denied a benefit before, particularly, let's say, Agent Orange, and later on the VA begins to say, yeah, we now agree with you, we didn't 20 years ago, but now we agree with you that that kind of cancer or that kind of a high blood pressure and lots of other conditions is related to Vietnam exposure to Agent Orange. You get backdated all the way back to whenever that first denial occurred. And I've seen that be hundreds of thousands, even $500,000 for folks. So it's worth investigating things like that.
That's one of the benefits of having an attorney on your side too, is knowing the law, knowing when those things change. Because sometimes when you're an individual, if you don't have an attorney on your side, then you don't know what the new laws are or how the things have changed. And having that attorney is valuable in instances like that for just that reason that you just said.
That's right. And so I realize that no one would come to an attorney. If you could get your answers met through your local magician or beautician.
Or Google.
Which please, the internet's smart, but the internet is not going to lead you because the rules for these areas are different for every single state. They go out of date and the internet's not going to tell you, though, that's been changed. I compare this to a kaleidoscope. We all used a kaleidoscope toy when we were a kid. You turn the barrel on that, and every little turn is a brand new picture. And that's exactly what it is when these laws apply to your situation. It doesn't matter that Uncle Henry had a similar thing. Yours is different. But I get it. You know, who wants to go to an attorney? So first consults are free. And a lot of times you don't even need a consult. Call us. I will give you resources. We do webinars all the time. I'll send you documents in the mail, things you can read. Maybe send you to a website if that's your thing. But I want to help you, and I don't want your money if I can't help you. I really do. I entered this area of law because I saw my family lose what they had time after time after time. We had large pieces of land, and we lost it over and over again. And I just don't want people to start again from scratch. If I can help you pass it forward, keep it in the family, protect it from the government, we want to do that. And I'd love to help you. Lots of resources. Just give us a call for things like that.
And Scott, you have a passion for serving veterans too, and I heard you're a veteran yourself.
I am a veteran, and one of the ladies you saw back there is a veteran too, Alexis McQuinn, Samples McQuinn. She's a veteran, U.S. Army veteran. I was also a veteran, served in the Army. Started out, they wanted to make me a guinea pig for gas agents, and I was blessed to be called out and said, no, let's do air traffic control. So I did that for 5 years. I've got veterans in my family as far back as as far as I can tell. We have Civil War veterans, and my grandfather, all my uncles served. My dad was Air Force. We even have a Marine here too, though we don't want to admit that. It's mainly just Army people. So, I highly prize military service. I think you learn things there from nowhere else, and I respect and honor anybody that's given their life to that kind of service.
So tell us a little bit too about you mentioned having webinars. We haven't mentioned to our audience where you're located, what your website is, what your phone number is. Tell us a little bit about that. What is your address at your location here where clients would come, and then a phone number for them to call and your website address?
First off, easy to call in anytime. Phone number is 859-544-6012. And that would get you started. You can also find us on the website. The website is www.elderlawguidance. I don't know how to spell guidance, or else I'd spell it out for you. It's a tricky little word. elderlawguidance.com. And there you're going to find a way to contact us through the web if you want. Again, the phone numbers are all listed there, but you can also send us an email, and that would work just as easily. On the website, you'll also find ways to enroll in the webinars. If there's not one scheduled already, you just put a request in there, we'll lead you to them. Most of them are hosted on the net, so you could actually pull up one that is just passed.
So you don't have to attend it live. You can watch it afterward.
No, we like to do them so that they are recorded. We know that you're waking up with these things on your mind at 2 a.m. I love you, but I'm not going to be presenting live at 2 a.m. So yeah, you have a recording on there, and that's one way to do it. And sometimes videos just, you need to stop it and think about that things. Many of those webinars are going to have a workbook with it too, so you can plan as you go. The main thing people do is they procrastinate. And this is one area that it's easy to do that because it becomes overwhelming. So if I can have a workbook where you're working it as you go, you've got a large head start against many people. You may even come in and say, hey, Scott, what about this? And you've already got it figured out, and I just have to fine tune it and help you make sure that it's going to work. And that's a really good tool I can give you, just a workbook, a planning sheet, a set of documents that you can study on your own and see, does this work for you? Another thing we do along those lines, one of our primary tools is we do assessments. I give you a money-back guarantee. You come in and do an assessment with us. Do we need this kind of planning? And if you don't need it and it didn't give you any value at all, I'll give you your money back. I really do believe the main obstacle most of us face is we're either burying our head in the sand or think that it doesn't apply to us, that'll never happen to me. And the reality is, when you're talking about long-term care benefits, 7 out of 10 of us are going to need long-term care, whether that's it, and I mean this in the sense of a facility. Many more than that will need it even at home. So it does apply to me. Between me and my wife, that's a 50-50 chance, and the stat 70% that one or the other will need that kind of care. And if you need it, it's going to cost you about $85,000 a year. So unless you've got an awful lot of money, we all need help here. So that's why I try to do anything I can to not make this overwhelming. Let's make it simple, make it easy for you, and give you the information you need. So
And when the time comes to, 100% of us are going to die.
That's
So, and in the state of Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, every individual has to have their own will too, correct?
that is right.
There's no joint wills.
No such thing as a joint will. And if the sort of the joke inside of the law firms that do this are, if you don't have a will, don't worry about it. The state of Kentucky has one for you. They've already planned out how it will go. But you can't have a joint will. And another, if you are moving to the state of Kentucky, this happens very frequently. You may not need to update a will if you already have one, but you surely ought to have it reviewed. I would review your will for free, make sure that this is going to work for you in Kentucky. The last thing that you want is after you, a spouse, a family member passes away, for this to not hold up, and now the family's in chaos, and oftentimes it creates conflict in the family. So we want your wishes to be followed. Let's just make sure that it's going to work for you and meets the Kentucky standards. More than a will, though, people often don't even think about the need for a power of attorney. A power of attorney, in my mind, is the most important legal document you have, more than a will. If my wife and I go out for dinner and we have a car accident and I go to the hospital, she doesn't have the legal right to tell them what to or not to do to me. If I lose consciousness, the doctor's responsibility is to do everything for preserving my life. And my wife, she could talk. The doctor's going to be respectful. But she doesn't have legal authority. You have to have a power of attorney, a healthcare power of attorney and a financial power of attorney to make sure that spouses have power to do that. Or maybe you're just traveling and you want to call back home. You lost your wallet. And you need one of your children to get involved and help you. They need those sorts of legal rights granted to them in a power of attorney. Extremely important, and people just don't think about that.
And those are separate documents too, so you don't have to have the same person be over your finances that's over your health care.
That's right. You can have separate ones over finances, separate over health care. You can limit. They have no authority. They're never going to do anything against your wishes because it's against the law for them to use the power of attorney against your wish. And the power of attorney holder could be somebody completely different than who you appoint to administer your estate and your will. That's, again, a separate, completely separate document. So when we do estate planning for people, at least you're going to have the 3, maybe 4 documents of a will, a power of attorney, an advance directive which says what kind of life support preferences you have if you are perhaps in a very traumatic accident, or you're losing cognitive ability to tell the doctor what you want. And we can also do not resuscitate orders as well. And an additional document many people are not aware of, there is a funerary designation form. We pass away, the will may say, well, I want to be buried here or have this and that done. The will is not binding on those choices. You have to have a funerary designated form that tells who's in charge, who can make that choices, and what your preferences are. And then it has to be followed. So that can help a lot. I know I've seen it in my family so many times. Aunt Susie wants that, Uncle Bill wants that to happen with Granny, and they're now going to fight. We all knew what Granny wants, but they just don't have the heart to do it that way anymore. So it really does solve a lot of the family problems if we plan in advance and tell our children or the people that we're leaving behind, this is what I want. And we're taking such a burden off of them. Instead of putting pressure on them, it becomes very, very easy. And it's not that hard to do. We'll lead you through the process if you'll give us a call. And if you don't want to talk to us, that's fine. Let me give you a free resource that will at least walk you through the process, right? So love to help in those kinds of ways to save families that stress, that turmoil, that unknown that is going to come to all of us.
And so, Scott, in that too, some of the other areas of law that you talked about, Medicaid and Medicare are topics that you do. Veterans are things that you do. Will, probate are things that you do.
Right.
Are there other areas that I forgot or I'm missing?
There's a couple of other areas that we deal a lot with. We do quite a bit of guardianship law. Oftentimes that is required. It could be just a declining in my cognitive ability, so somebody has to step in. If you have the power of attorney, it may prevent ever having to have a guardianship. But nevertheless, sometimes we put that stuff off and a guardianship is required. Sometimes the guardianship is required because of the other area of our practice, which is just elder abuse and exploitation in general. We're used to thinking in terms of nursing home abuse as that's what we all imagine. But the reality is 85% of all abuse, whether it's financial exploitation or actual physical abuse, occurs from a very close friend or a family member. 70% of it is a family member. And yet we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to get the family in trouble. But there's some serious harm that can happen. As a matter of fact, the financial harm is about $32 billion a year that family members are stealing from their elderly loved ones. And no one knows what to do with it. It's hard to do this without making it a public, humiliating issue. We feel stupid that somebody took advantage of us. And that just isn't the case. We really can help protect and keep the money there because you need it as your cushion. That's your retirement. That's how you do things. We still can bless family members and give gifts to them. But we shouldn't be afraid if we see the wrong kinds of things going on in our family to call somebody. It'd be a confidential conversation with us. We can tell you what to do, what resources are available. No one's going to get in trouble. Just reach out and call and see what needs to happen to stop it. And often it's a very simple thing to stop that kind of manipulation, abuse, or harm.
And sometimes, too, you may have individuals who don't realize it's become such a gradual thing. They don't realize, and so having that professional opinion to come in and ask an attorney, hey, is this normal? Is this correct? And having that opinion to tell them about that. That's
right. Yeah, there can be a lot of, we don't know what we don't know, right? So this might be normal, it might not. But it's becoming popular to say if you see something, say something. But that can be, that's absolutely true. Ask a question. Maybe mom, dad, my brother, my sister, whoever is experiencing this doesn't know what to do. Maybe they need help. But maybe then again, nothing's going on at all. But the loving thing to do is to at least check into what the options are and see, is there something that we should watch out for and stop?
And be prepared for it before it happens. Nobody makes good decisions in crisis, do they?
That's right, no. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? We can stop anything if we're prepared in advance and make it easy. Most people don't really want to harm. Nobody really wants to create chaos for their family. It's just that we put stuff off, right? And then in the very end, it's like, wow, if I had only known years ago. If I hear that once a week, I hear it 50 times a week. If I had only known. Nobody told me. Well, we're telling you. Right? Come, we'll help you.
That is one of the beauties of having the videos like this, to be able to kind of let people know what they don't know, what kind of questions to ask, to contact and reach out. And so this is Scott Collins, and this is Elder Law Guidance. And we are located at his newest office here in the Harper Square Shopping Center area, right off Lexington Road. But he does have 2 other locations too, so this is his 3rd expansion. So Scott, we are so grateful that you allowed the Berea Chamber of Commerce to come in today, and we're so grateful that you're one of our members. And for those of you that are watching, please make sure that you comment. If you have questions, ask those questions, and we're going to reach out to Scott and his staff and get answers for you. But Scott, we are just so thankful that you brought us in today and allowed us this opportunity to have a video. And so we are grateful for your time. And is there anything that we missed this morning? Something else, anything that we might not have mentioned? Or what about your community investments?
That is something we didn't mention. Look, 2 things. It's 2315 Lexington Road, Suite G. It's upstairs. You'll see the sign. You can't miss that.
Right next to the elevator.
Right next to the elevator. I want to give you an email address, too. Some of you, if you try to ask me legal questions on Facebook, I can't do that. I'd love to, but I can't. So if you'll contact us at info, I-N-F-O, at Elder Law Guidance, we'll answer any question that way, too. Community involvement. First off, thank you to the Berea Chamber. We're involved in several chambers of commerce. You guys, by far, way above the amount of just touch, skill, and engagement. So thank you for that. There are things we've done that you've recognized. One of our programs we do is called Waves of Change. And it's a lot of fun because what I do once a month is I give a $100 cash bonus to all my staff. I make them spend the money on anything they want for themselves, so long as they do it with a local business owner. I don't want it to go to the big box stores. They're fine, but I want to try to keep it in the community and raise up the community, especially during COVID. Goodness, it was hard to keep the doors open for many people. So they spend it. If the owner of that business will allow, we'll take a picture, put it on our Facebook, give you free publicity that way, and also have them give a gift certificate. Look, we will do you a free estate planning package. Just come in and see us. We want to help you. We know you work hard, and so we'd love to do those sorts of things. We do a lot of engagement with the Alzheimer's Association. Berea Community Village is another favorite of ours. They do a great job with that nonprofit. But a lot of different things we try to do in the community, and just keep it local. And if we can do anything with you that way, please let us know. We'll come and visit your business and see how we can make you one of our frequent shoppers for our staff people.
Well, and that's another point too, when you're talking about attorney in law, is when you're a business owner, you may start off with a small business. You may have just a sole proprietorship, but then you move up and then you become incorporated or have an LLC. And as those things change, your legal needs change too, especially with wills and things like that. So those are things that you can help with too, Scott, right?
That is right. Especially as small business owners, you need to have some sort of plan for your business. A succession plan is what it's called, but your estate plan is not just you anymore, you and your wife. It's about you and your business. You've got to incorporate all that. So there's some pretty advanced things that you need to be thinking about. Everything from the tax side to the insurance side, and just who's going to take that over. You worked hard to make a business, right? There's no sense for it to somehow be impacted by what's going on in life. We can make it survive and be healthy on and on. If that's your wish, you might just want to close the doors and retire in Florida. I'm for that too. But yeah, you absolutely need to have a business plan as well, and that's part of what we do here.
Wonderful. Well, Scott, thank you so much for your time this morning, and thank you for allowing us to come in, and we appreciate it. And for those of you watching, feel free to make sure to comment, ask questions, send that email. It's info@elderlawguidance.com, and help us share and promote and help our local small businesses. And thank you, Scott, for your Waves of Change program too, and also investing in other local small businesses. So have a wonderful day, and we appreciate your time, Scott.
Thanks. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for being here.